This past weekend, Seattle opened their brand new 2 line, carrying light rail trains between Redmond and South Bellevue. I love Seattle, and I'm very excited for its transit future, so I flew all the way out here just to see it during its first week of operation. But what does this new line have to offer Seattle, and why doesn't it go downtown yet? The only way to find out is to go for a ride. Let's take a look at the map. Seattle is uniquely situated on a narrow strip of land between the Puget Sound and Lake Washington. While the city's downtown developed quickly during the 20th century, the lake's eastern shore remained fairly rural, serving as a weekend getaway for Seattle residents, who would travel there by ferry. But when bridges opened across the lake, once sleepy towns like Bellevue and Redmond became booming bedroom communities, and soon powerhouses in their own right, containing the headquarters or offices of major brands, most notably Microsoft. Sound Transit opened the new 2 line on April 27th of this year, which currently runs 6.3 miles between South Bellevue and Redmond Technology, serving 8 stations. It'll eventually link up with the existing 1 line across the lake, but we'll get to that. In this video, I'll be visiting every station on the new line, giving you guys an in-depth look at America's newest light rail, and how it's set to transform the eastern shore of Lake Washington. So let's go! So we begin here in the South Bellevue Station parking garage, we meaning me and my Uncle John. Hi. So right off the bat we have the parking garage, of course. We have bike storage over here. There's 5 levels to the parking garage. I believe parking is free, and interestingly, level 5 actually has a labeled overlooking the
slough.
That barely helps. Here is a little bit of a view. Of all of the stations, this is the one with the biggest parking garage. It has, I believe, 1,500 spaces. There isn't a ton of transit-oriented development in the area. Bellevue's not really planning to develop anything more than what's currently here, but don't worry, that will not be a theme for the rest of this video.
So I'm wondering why people would park up here, because it's not clear if you can get over to the train easily or not.
Yeah, I think you have to go down and up again.
I don't know. Why?
So, shall we do that?
Yeah.
Like, look, we're literally level with the platform, and we're gonna have to go all the way down to there, and then back up and get on that train up there. And there's the 550 boarding down here. This station sees both local and express buses for King County Metro and Sound Transit. Also, I love that there's a welcome mat. I wonder how long that's gonna last. Here's the main station, very colorful. Ooh, there's like stained glass. 2 escalators up to the platform.
Attention passengers, if you are traveling...
They actually have the same automated voice as Amtrak stations.
It looks like we may be the only passengers at this point.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else on the platform who doesn't work for Sound Transit. I love these couplers where you have the big shiny bumpers that just kind of roll up and then they stick them together. This train is part of the city's newer fleet of Siemens vehicles, which have been delivered since 2019. The interior map shows the starter line, but I gotta say I'm not a fan of putting the numbers on either end, as it makes these look like terminal stations. From South Bellevue, the line parallels the Mercer Slough, descending into a trench, which is capped at certain locations. Here is East Main. East Main is a ground-level station serving apartment towers south of downtown Bellevue. Other nearby locations include multiple hotels, the International Ballet Theater, and Bellevue High School, along with plans for future transit-oriented development. The nearby Surrey Downs neighborhood, which has historically been fairly anti-light rail, opted not to have direct connection to the train, and it's instead walled off by a concrete barrier. The station also features its own park, built over the new tunnel under downtown Bellevue. According to Sound Transit's future plans, the 4 line from Issaquah will link up to the 2 line here, although it may be 20 years or more before we see this. Okay, so I don't think that was stained glass that we saw earlier. I think it's just kind of translucent advertising that they're putting on, or not even advertising, just promotional stuff for the new line that they're putting on the glass. I do wonder what they're going to do once they get rid of these particular decorations for the opening, but for now, I really like them. They really add a pop of color to all the stations, as well as sort of a thematic branding. We've got a pedestrian entrance down here. All the way down at the other end, I think there's another pedestrian entrance. It's interesting how they've done these temporary maps for the 1 and 2 lines where you have the bus bridge between them that's pretty clearly marked.
Yeah.
Now that train is full of people. I wonder where they're all going. Oh no, it's my old enemy. If you recall in the Denver video, these were not my favorite. Let's see how these hold up. Ooh, you do have to grab them and pull them. So if you don't have the motor skills to grab and pull this gate, that could be a problem getting onto that track. Also, interestingly, this crossing gate has a sign that says another train coming that can line up. I've never really seen that done before, but if you guys have, let me know in the comments. The train is in like 3 minutes, but I want to see the park on top of the tunnel portal. So I'm just gonna jog up there, look at it real quick, and jog right back. Here's some steps up to the park, 2 at a time. Okay, here's the park. It's nice. There's the tunnel portal. Back to the station. Also, we got some bike lockers over here. Right after East Main, the train dips into a tunnel under Bellevue. In the early 2010s, the alignment of this route through downtown was so hotly debated that the line's opening had to be pushed back, but eventually all parties agreed on a 1,985-foot tunnel under 110th Avenue. This was dug without tunnel boring machines. Instead, Sound Transit used a sequential method of conventional excavation and concrete reinforcement. At the tunnel's northern mouth, trains arrive into Bellevue Downtown Station. It looks like 2 trips got dropped, so we have a train in 10 minutes and then the next one's not for another 30 minutes after that, so that's not ideal. Bellevue Downtown is probably going to be one of the most used stations on the new line, especially once it's linked to Seattle. After all, Bellevue City Core houses 15,000 people and employs over 50,000. Amazon and Google have offices within walking distance of the station, and game developers Bungie, known for Halo, and Valve, known for Half-Life and Portal, are headquartered here.
Now you're thinking with portals.
First sign of Microsoft. Here we have the 2 platforms. We have a side platform design. It's kind of built into the side of a hill, as you can see. Ooh, do we have like a slowy, speedy-uppy escalator here? Because this thing is... Aha! Yes, we do! Here's the main entrance to Bellevue Downtown Station, and may I say, it is quite nicely done. Ooh, we've got another bike locker set up here. And right up here is the Bellevue Transit Center, served by both King County Metro and Sound Transit. Yeah, look, there's going to be a train to South Bellevue, train to Redmond, and then a bunch of trains to South Bellevue, and nothing to Redmond for a while. Leaving downtown, the train crosses a trestle over Interstate 405, then turns north to Wilburton. So we're here at Wilburton Station, which was originally going to be called Hospital Station, because right over here we have the Overlake Medical Center. It employs about 3,400 people. And just because of the nature of healthcare, you have people commuting to and from it all hours of the day. So it's really cool to have a station here. It's also nearby the tiny Lake Bellevue, and right next to a Whole Foods. We've got a couple of car dealerships down here. Other than that, there isn't really much near Wilburton Station. Down here we have a bike bridge, which will, in the future, connect bikers to the station from areas to the south. There's also going to be a mural on it honoring Japanese-American farmers who used to live here. They're talking about building some TOD kind of down that way, which would be really awesome, because then you have the bridge right here to connect people to the train. Viewers, please explain to me why this bird is not immediately getting electrocuted for perching here. Like, I'm really surprised.
He needs grounding.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So hypothetically, if I was to just jump up and grab the catenary and not touch anything else, I'd be fine. Should I try it?
No, Caleb, you could be grounded. You're fairly tall.
You can see more of the transit-oriented development down by the next station, but we'll get to that. It's just a faraway view. The departure screens don't really say what time it is, which would be really helpful in a train station. Before we continue, do consider subscribing if you've made it this far. I make weekly videos on trains, planes, and transit, as well as the places they go. And if you've already subscribed, consider joining my Patreon, since my wonderful supporters are the reason I was able to make it out here to film in the first place. Okay, so even though it said that there wasn't a train coming for a while, here's a train. That was a little weird. Traveling northward from Wilburton, we pass the entrance to Sound Transit's Eastern Operations and Maintenance Facility. This yard is the reason why the 2 line can operate independently of the 1 line, since it has its own fleet of vehicles and a place to store them. This is also where the future 4 line will split off to Kirkland. Yes, that Kirkland. Spring District Station is built into a trench. It features artwork by Louis Gong, titled Dragon and Phoenix, which draws influence from both his Chinese and Native American heritage. There's been a lot of transit-oriented development around the station. Coca-Cola and Safeway operate nearby distribution centers, and Facebook's parent company Meta has offices in the area. Bikers can transfer from here to a bike trail, which goes right by the light rail yard before continuing to Kirkland.
Passengers, if you are traveling with luggage.
It's funny how there's a space for lobby, but is this a button? Oh, it is a button. I've never seen a chonky button that looks like that. Here's the entrance. I promise there's transit-oriented development here, but that is a rather foreboding thing to enter onto. Then we'll just walk down the stairs. I guess the stairs go down to the platform. I am curious as to what the lobby is then, because this is street and the platform's literally right down there, but there's a button for lobby. It doesn't do anything. Why is it there?
2 line to South Bellevue at westbound platform in 2 minutes.
And now the departure board has completely reset itself and it's back to the real schedule. Also, you may have noticed these signs for 2-car trains and 4-car trains to show where they should stop. So now once again they have, oh, and then they've updated it again. I don't know what's going on with these. I'm guessing it's like first week teething issues, but would appreciate that to be taken care of at some point. In the span between Spring Garden and BelRed, the line runs below grade, above grade, and finally at grade, where it crosses 130th Street. This grade crossing has a built-in traffic light, with traffic cycles intended to synchronize with trains. I'm glad to see Sound Transit improving on their past design choices here. This station features a 300-space parking lot, and it serves a fairly spread-out industrial-turned-retail area. 2 apartment complexes are set to be built here, however, so there is going to be some transit-oriented development in the years to come. So there isn't as much to see here at BelRed. It's a pretty simple station. We got 2 side platforms. It's interesting that the last station really felt like a metro station. This one really feels like a major tram hub of some kind. It's just a very, very different feel. After BelRed, the train runs in the median of Northeast Spring Boulevard and 136th Place Northeast, before becoming elevated again to Overlake Village. Overlake Village is a fairly simple station with a vehicular drop-off area and a pedestrian bridge for both walkers and bikers. In terms of transit-oriented development, we're now entering Microsoft territory, with some of the company's buildings just north of the station. Beyond that, both Bellevue and Redmond are building up transit-oriented housing in this area, with 10,000 units planned over the next 20 years, and 333 units of subsidized housing specifically planned for Sound Transit's former construction site by Da Vinci Avenue. We've got a little drop-off area over here, and some funny, stony, benchy things to sit on. More of my old enemy, the pulley gates. Although I suppose, since there's security personnel pretty much everywhere you look, one of them could probably just open the gate for you if you had a disability. Pedestrian bridge to the 520 Trail, Goldsmith Park, and Microsoft West Campus. Let's take a look. Interestingly, this bridge has this windy, bikey thing that kind of wraps around the pedestrian staircase. Could also be used for wheelchairs, although chances of a collision there might be a problem. And then this bridge is painted with a bunch of pixel art to make it look like a giant forest, which is super cool, but doesn't block out the freeway noise. This bridge is painted with 156,000 rectangles. It's telling that the only bikes or scooters in the bike rack are from Lime. Oh hey, there is a clock in this station. I just wish it was a little easier to see. From Overlake Village, the right-of-way is mostly at grade, running parallel to Highway 520. Finally, the train arrives at Redmond Technology Station. And here we are, last stop for the present, Redmond Technology Center. How do you feel?
I'm glad that we're here safely and quickly if you subtract all the time.
Yeah, if you don't stop and do elevator reviews at every station, then it's actually a very speedy journey. It takes about 17 minutes total. Redmond Technology Station is set to be another key player in the new line, as this is the station that serves Microsoft's headquarters, where over 40,000 people work. Just steps from the station, we find a massive pedestrian bridge over the highway, connecting Microsoft's main buildings. Okay, these station signs are really confusing. This one says South Bellevue now. That one was saying next train this platform. Oh, now it's saying it again. But it was saying 67 minutes till the next train from this platform, and now it's leaving? Right down here we have the very obvious end of the line. So if you try to drive a train here, it will hit the yellow metal things. We've also got a smaller parking garage here. I believe it has about 300 spaces. So crossing the tracks here, we now have no pulley gates. These are actually fully accessible. Also, shout out to the Sound Transit employee who gave me this because he recognized my YouTube channel. It's a reflector. Here are the bus bays. You can see a King County Metro rapid ride down there. This is also served by Microsoft's private fixed route shuttle. Also appreciation for these vaguely ladybug-esque circly things. There's also a transit-oriented coffee shop right by the station, and I got a beet latte, which I've never had before, but I think Dwight Schrute would be proud. So we're trying to get to the bridge, which is the feature attraction of this station. Okay, this is very cool. We got like the canvas up there, lots of plants. We got some bike lanes, pedestrian lanes. And that's the extent of the 2 line, or at least its initial segment. But what about connecting tracks to Seattle? Well, a track connection already exists. It's just not quite done. Let's ride back to South Bellevue, and I'll explain. The 2 line, also referred to as the East Link Extension, was originally funded through the Sound Transit 2 ballot measure in 2008, after decades of planning and speculation. It's the second light rail line to open in Seattle, hence its name, although Seattle is perhaps the only city in the English-speaking world to place the line number before the word line, something that just feels wrong. This line will see a 2-stop extension to the north, taking it into downtown Redmond. But perhaps of more interest is its planned extension to the south and west. Back here at South Bellevue, you can see the tracks continue to the south, where they cross Lake Washington and connect with the 1 line downtown. I'm hopping on a Sound Transit Express bus to the other side of the lake to take a closer look. But here's the thing about Lake Washington. The lake bed is so soft that a traditional bridge across it would be very difficult to build. So when the lake was first spanned in the 1940s, engineers came up with a novel solution: floating bridges. The Homer M. Hadley Memorial Bridge, which was built in 1989, carries the westbound lanes of Interstate 90 along with the 2 lines tracks, with giant floating pontoons supporting the span. The tracks take up space formerly occupied by HOV lanes. Floating bridges can only take a certain amount of weight before they sink, so to ensure the bridge would stay afloat under the weight of trains, trucks carrying the weight of a loaded train were driven over the bridge. When this proved successful, engineers figured out a complex mechanism for keeping the 2 lines tracks level, despite the bridge's undulation with the lake's currents. Unfortunately, this section isn't ready to open yet, as a series of concrete structures along the right-of-way were deemed in need of repair or replacement. When it opens next year, if all goes according to plan, it will be the world's first rail line on a permanent floating bridge. Additional stops will open on either side of the bridge as well. After that, the 2 line will meet the 1 line at International District Chinatown and follow it north from there, ending at Linwood, which itself is opening in August of this year. The 2 line may be small now, but it already punches above its weight even before the Seattle segment, serving all kinds of residential and corporate destinations, and catalyzing some of the nation's most thorough transit-oriented development. It's clear that Sound Transit and its city partners are playing the long game, with a system set to transform the east side of Lake Washington just like the floating bridges did, and I, for one, can't wait to see how that goes.